Work on the house ground to a complete halt last week, hence why we didn't post any video. We started this channel to document our progress renovating the house. So we've always said we don't want to film stuff or post stuff just for the sake of it, because trust me, that would have been the world's most boring video, because we did pretty much nothing here last week. The reason work slowed down so much is because of building regulations, which have become a complete logistical nightmare for us. So in essence, because we're going from 5 flats back to 1 house, we have to apply for something called a change of usage agreement. So in order to do that, we have to comply with a set of quite strict and specific building regulations in the same way that we would if we were building a brand new house from scratch. So this has become a real headache for us. Charlie will elaborate more on this shortly. And the mornings here at the moment are getting so chilly and so much darker. It really feels like autumn's here, which reminds me that I just wanted to put the feelers out there and see if anyone would be interested in, about a month's time, us doing a bit of a Halloween episode. So talking about the history of Halloween in 1800s Britain and some of the customs, superstitions and folklore of that time, including the people who would have lived in this house originally when it was built, because in Georgian England they held some quite interesting superstitions and beliefs, particularly around the supernatural world. And I've been researching this a bit and it's quite interesting. This is what I'm supposed to be starting my dissertation at the moment, and this is what I've been doing instead. This is how I've been procrastinating. So please let me know, yes, Halloween episode, amazing, or no, please just stick to the renovating stuff, and that's absolutely fine. So today we are starting to tackle the attic, which has been quite overlooked so far, as you'll see, and I'm thinking forwards towards the kitchen and some of the lighting arrangements in there. So I'm going to do some moulding work for that, as you'll see. And also today we are getting our shutters back. So we'll see how those turned out and whether they survived the dipping process.
Something that's been consuming a huge amount of my time the last couple of weeks and keeping me from really getting anything productive done on the house is building regulations. I think in America you call it building code or just code, and I've been doing just so much research into this the last couple of weeks, and there's quite a lot to consider. I knew coming into this project that there'd be a lot of things we had to consider with regard to fire safety, for example, but there's actually quite a lot beyond that. I'm not going to go into all the gory details, but one particularly important thing is where we're demolishing these asbestos walls, we're sort of compromising the fire safety of the escape routes of the house. So we've got to make sure we factor into our design to put things like new fire doors in to make sure there are still good, safe escape routes. And really that's just the beginning of the building regulations. I've been speaking with a few people about it, including the building inspectors, and their view is really that they'd prefer that we do a complete design up front for them to approve before we continue. It's a lot less risky that way. So we've kind of slowed the pace a bit while I engage with an architect. And the idea there is just to draw up a kind of technical drawing of the house, showing things like the building materials and the layout. And that way we can get pre-approval to make sure that what we're doing is going to comply with all the regulations. And also, it gives us a good set of plans to work from as well. And we can make better decisions based on what walls are made of and things like that, about insulation and where to put pipework and that sort of thing. So it's very boring and technical, and it's slowing us down, and it's a bit frustrating. But I think we've made the decision that we're going to get it professionally drawn up, and that will help us to make a lot of better decisions as we go forward. A couple of obvious places where this house doesn't meet the regulations. First of all, as I mentioned, these walls around the stairway. we're demolishing the walls around the stairway, and that means the house will no longer have a fire-safe exit stairway, and that's something we need to fix. So we'll be putting new fire doors around the house to protect against fire spreading. Another thing that's not up to regulation, the windows. These just don't have good insulation, so we are going to be replacing these with brand new UPVC double glazed windows, which will be much more energy efficient. Another thing that's not up to the regulations, this ceiling is made of wooden board. That's a fire risk, so we'll be replacing that with plasterboard. Another thing that's not up to regulations, the fireplace. When we put a new log burner in here, we're going to have to add some new ventilation to the wall to let fresh air in for that. So apart from those specific little bits and pieces, most of the building regulations we're going to meet just by virtue of the fact that we're completely replacing everything. So all the regulations about electrical safety, not a problem because we're putting all brand new electrics in and it'll be certified by the electrician. Same with heating and plumbing, all brand new pipework going in. It'll all be done by a professional plumber, so that's going to be done properly and we don't need to worry about it.
Show me around the attic because, as you pointed out the other day, I barely ever go up here.
Yeah, so up here I've taken out this cupboard that was here and this toilet room. So there's a wall across here, you can probably see the edges of where it was. And in here was a room with just a water tank, a cupboard with a water tank. And then here was an absolutely tiny upstairs toilet. It's got the window there, but it was absolutely minuscule. And we certainly don't want a little tiny toilet room like that. So I've taken those two walls out for now, and the plan is probably going to be to actually box this back in and turn it into a cupboard, basically as it was before, but we don't need the toilet there. And like in many places, a lot of the plasterwork is in absolutely terrible condition here. So it's likely this will be ripped out and reboarded with some new plasterboard and tidied up at the same time. The other big thing up here is to do with this wall here. So what we found is that there's this tiny little window here that doesn't really seem to serve much purpose. And by the time we've put a cupboard back in here, there's not going to be a great deal of light coming through there. So we thought it might be better to move this wall across and expand this room, which has the remainder of that window. And this is another thing. I don't really like the windows being split by walls like this. So I think it would be nice to get rid of this wall, at least from where it is now, open that window up into a single window and make this room a bit bigger and make the hallway next door a little bit smaller.
You missed something about that window. It showcased a lovely collection of dead birds for a while there, didn't it?
It did. I don't think we need them.
No.
Now we've actually been up here for a few minutes and talking about everything I just said, we've actually had some new ideas for up here. And that is to make it a bit more open plan. So I talked about moving this wall. Emma's actually suggested, why don't we just get rid of this wall completely and have this as more of a kind of open plan guest studio. So this room would become more of an open plan bedroom, and then shed out, coming right out into this hallway, being a kind of open plan bedroom, living room kind of thing for guests. We have to put the bathroom somewhere else up here, but that's fine. And it would solve the problem of the light, because this would be completely open. So we just have this big open space, and then we've still got two other rooms which can be used as one as a bathroom and probably one as an office or something like that. Or it can just be another guest bedroom, it's not really too important. But yeah, making it a bit more open plan is quite a cool idea. We will need to look into the fire regulations for that, because it's possible that we need to have the rooms closed off from the staircase. So it's possible that we'll put a new door in here. So this is where the staircase comes up. And it's possible we'll just close off this section of the attic, or the majority of the attic, and have that as not quite a flat, but like a little studio that's separated off from the rest of the house, and a bit more open plan.
Following on from our conversation yesterday, we're going to take the plaster off of this wall so that we can visualise what it's going to look like with this open plan big L-shaped space, as you'll see in a minute, hopefully when the plaster's all gone, and also just check that this wall isn't supporting anything above.
This is a roof post. This is helping the whole house up.
So that will have to stay.
That will have to stay.
Okay, but that might look quite cute. Removing the plaster has opened up a massive can of worms because that wall is supporting, as you can see. It's got that big beam, another one there, another one there. So moving this wall or getting rid of it entirely isn't really on the cards now. And I think we're going to have to keep the window in its split configuration. So currently the decision falls between replace the plaster and keep the wall the same, or remove all of the non-structural supporting elements and have these exposed beams just to bring in more light and make it feel a bit open. So essentially what we'll have is a much larger doorway. Also, I've just noticed we seem to have a bit of a fly infestation up here. Look at them. I wonder if it's because the days are kind of getting shorter and the nights are getting colder. They're all coming in here to hibernate, or maybe we have another dead bird or something in one of the cavities, but it's a little bit gross, isn't it? Oh, there's something about this attic in general. When we first got the keys to this place, Charlie hated coming up here on his own, and he's not normally really scared of anything, so that kind of says it all. I don't tend to really come up here much. And also our dog Cole, who we recently adopted, he doesn't seem to like it in here. Yeah, there's just something about this attic. I think we really need to tackle this and start making it beautiful and get on board with it and make it a more welcoming place. I'm sure I've mentioned this just a few times now, but I absolutely love the ceiling rose in here. It's so pretty. But the thing I love the most is the little sunflower in the middle. It's so cute. So I want to replicate that in the kitchen. I want to try and make a mold in order to make a copy of the sunflower and replicate 3 of them, 3 of the little sunflowers. And then in the kitchen, we will at some point in time have a kitchen island. And over that kitchen island, I want 3 of those sunflowers. And from those little sunflowers, 3 pendant lights suspended. So let's see if I can try and carefully make a mold from that sunflower in situ, preferably without breaking it, to ensure that the mold comes off of the sunflower and with any luck doesn't break the sunflower by adhering to it too much. I need to use a release agent, and I've heard that the best thing to use for this is just bog standard Vaseline. So let's see how that goes. I'm just going to liberally brush it on. For the actual mould itself, you can buy a special silicone moulding putty, but it is seriously expensive for a tiny pot of this stuff. And also some of the reviews seemed quite variable as to how good it actually is. But I've seen this done with just bog standard Play-Doh, like children's Play-Doh or modelling clay. And they seem to have quite good success with that. So let's try it. I think what I'm going to do is put this on a little bit at a time. So my degree course requires us to learn a lot of human anatomy, particularly bones. If anyone else is doing any kind of medical or healthcare degree, You will know there's 206 of them normally, and we have to learn all the bones and their bony prominences. And the way our university got us to do this was by using Play-Doh or modelling clay and literally making the bones. £10,000 a year nearly now, and they have us playing with modelling clay. And even though my friends and I are more mature students, we had some quite immature moments with this clay, as you can imagine. That's it all covered now, and I have to say that looks kind of cool, almost like bubblegum or something. And even though we probably won't end up going with pink in here, it does my heart good to see this place with a shot of colour in it. The shutters are back and they are looking so beautiful. Look at that wood. And I said before that these were oak. Yeah, these are pine. I am such an idiot. I knew these were pine. I don't know why I said they were oak. And funnily enough, the guy who dropped them off was like, yeah, these are pine. If they were oak, then the dipping process would have destroyed them. You can't dip oak, but pine you can. And they look so far so good. Also, the lovely guy who dropped them off for us was pretty horrified when I told him we were going to paint them. And I did explain that we were going to paint them with like a light eggshell, not the horrible gloopy thick gloss paint again. But he kind of said, please just Google them next to a white surround, but unpainted and just oiled. They look really beautiful. And the last time we did, I must admit, I thought they looked a bit odd. But I'd like to revisit the idea because I like the idea of just oiling them and leaving them as natural wood. It's been such a long day and I'm already absolutely exhausted, but I need to get all of these shutters kind of spread around upstairs where I can open the windows and we get more light in here so that they can dry. But I will show you. Let me just pop one. So that's unpainted shutter next to the painted frame, and actually that looks really nice. Why did they look weird on the Google image? Well, the battery on the camera just died, so I'm using my phone now to record this. And as I was saying, they actually look really beautiful in the wooden frame. Sorry, the wooden shutter with the white frame. It's been a very long day. So yeah, why did they look so weird on the Google image search ones of the bare wood shutters against the white frame? I don't know. So now I'm tempted to paint the frames white, leave the shutters unpainted, or in some rooms have shutters bare, but also the frame as bare wood. Especially rooms like our bedroom, where I think you almost need a little bit of zen and almost like a little bit of a sanctuary with lots of kind of raw, natural materials like wood. So that's definitely an option. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking with us, and thank you ever so much again for all your comments. They are so helpful, honestly. Thank you, and see you next time.